Guys, so let's talk about it, right? So it seemed like Mangi, despite losing her channel, basically her business, and Gen Z being unalived in thousands, it seemed like she's not giving up. Okay, she's still adamant about the movement with the Gen Zs. So she linked up with the Kenyan journalist who work with CNN, Larry Madowo, and I think we'll be seeing the sit down very soon. But they did a video, and based off of how Mangi was speaking, honey, it seemed like baby girl ain't giving up time anytime soon. She ain't. We all know that she's an American citizen, and Tanzania has been really trying to get her extradited back to the country to face the charges, of course. And in Tanzania, things are a little bit different from Kenya because, Larry Madowo would just say just about anything, not just about anything. He'd be the one to expose the government and the dirty dealings that the Kenyan government be doing. The rest of Africa, Kenya is a little bit, democratic. Plus, Larry have CNN backing him, right? So we will say he's somewhat safe, but Mangi, I don't know, bro. Let me play you that clip first of all.
Dada wa taifa, una imani lakini utarudi Instagram?
Yes, 100%. Naamini tutarudi na tutaendelea kupambana. Okay? Watanzania don't give up. Mtarudi, tutaendelea kupigania haki. Watanzania tutapata justice, tutapata uwezo wa kuchagua viongozi wetu. Hatuwezi kuchagua viongozi wetu na mafisadi na wahuni. Waliotuua, waliofanya mauaji ya Oktoba 29 watalipia. Tutapata justice. For now, let's stay focused. Tuachane na mambo ya umbea and celebrities. Tupate accounts za ukombozi, za wanaharakati. Let's stay focused. Tunakaribia kufika. So let's not give up.
Yes. Lord of mercy. Mangi look like she hasn't taken any form of good sleep for a minute now. I mean, she's lost weight tremendously. She's a thin girl. Nobody shaming her, but she look like she's really going through it. But anyway, so Mangi goes ahead and say to Mananswili listeners that she will be back on Instagram very, very soon. And they'll go back to where they left things at. She's also saying that Tanzanian Gen Z should focus more on, pages that are looking into the country, the economy, and look exactly at what the government is doing, the corruption and all that, and the unaliving of the Gen Zs, and should not focus on the gossip of the celebrities. Remember, Mangi has always stated that the government is the one who is fueling, rather funding celebrities to do cloud chasing so that, the citizens will focus more on the gossips that goes around the entertainment industry and not look into the government and what the government is doing. Let's listen to Morio.
Serikali ya Tanzania itasema kwamba huu ni uchochezi. Unachochea watu.
Kuchochea watu ni kuambia watu vitu vya uongo, afu kuambia watu kachomeni moto au kafanyeni uhalifu. Mimi sikuwahi kufanya hivyo. Kipindi chote nilikuwa naambia watu maandamano ya amani. Sikuwahi kuchochea mtu kufanya kitu kibaya wala, lakini kwenye maandamano yoyote duniani, wananchi wana hasira.
So Larry Madowo goes ahead and asks Mangi Kimambi, don't you think the government will dispute, or rather will say that whatever it is that you're trying to do is bringing in commotion into the country? Like, what do you have to say about that? And she said that is not true. I'm not inciting any violence. If you hear everything that I've been saying from the beginning, I've always stated that people should go out there and demonstrate. While at it should be a peaceful demonstration. She also added that if you look around the world, all the demonstrations that have happened, there's always been some sort of vandalizing and theft because of infiltration, and because sometimes the citizens are very, very upset and sometimes they can't help it. But according to her, she's saying that she has never incited anybody to go on the streets and loot or vandalize people's stuff. Let's continue.
And they get there and they do whatever else. Asante kaka kwa kutupigania.
Asante. Kazi yangu kama mwanahabari ni kupaza sauti. Sikufanya chochote. Mimi si mwanaharakati, ni kupaza sauti.
Tanzania kuna wanahabari pia, but hawakuweza kuongea chochote, hawakuweza kupaza sauti kwa ajili yetu. wanahabari wa Tanzania ni kwa ajili ya kutangaza michezo na kuongelea umbea, ila sio issue
kupigania watu,
sio kupigania watu,
lakini labda wanaogopa kutekwa, wanaogopa kupotezwa,
na pia wanaogopa pia kuingiliwa, yani kufanya.
Mangi, I'll take you up to your last statements, right? You're saying that Tanzanian journalists and presenters and all that are afraid to speak because of, being blackballed, being arrested, being made to disappear. And you know that most of these people are coming from humble backgrounds. They have families here. Even if they manage to go to another country like you did, which it's almost impossible for them based off of the money that they probably need before they're able to flee into another country and seek for asylum, why then do you think that they are useless, according to you? Because Mangi goes ahead and say the last part is thank you, Brother Madowo, for what you did to us. We have journalists and news anchors in our countries who literally did nothing while we were being slaughtered on the streets. And Larry Madowo said, I was just doing my job. My job is just to be out there and to spread the news and to, spread awareness of what's happening. And Mangi go ahead and say that, we have media houses, but they did not do anything to us. They'd rather focus on football or on celebrity gossip and stuff like that. And Larry Madowo said that, yeah, but probably they are scared of the government and what the government is capable of. And Mangi said, yeah, they are afraid of, their businesses being, blackballed or being ruined and stuff like that. You all remember when Diamond did that small mistake of criticizing the government of not making the arena before it's even 12 hours, he retracted everything? Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. And for Mangi to force the artists during the Gen Z protest that they should go out and join the Gen Z, considering how their country is. Mangi was probably thinking that their country is like Kenya, for example, during our Gen Z protest. And everybody was outside. You know what I'm saying? It's different in their country, right? And the fact that Mangi was saying that, I feel like it was so unfair. Even now, for her to even continue to call out the Gen Z and saying that don't give up, I feel like it's so unfair and kind of selfish on her part, because she is far away. Nothing is happening to her and her children. These Gen Z are still in Tanzania. There is a mother who still haven't gotten over the fact that her children were unalived with police violently. There's a wife who is still crying for her husband. There's a husband who is still crying for the wife. I mean, the other day we saw how Nifa's mother was going on her knees begging for the president to kindly let Nifa go. And when Nifa went out and she didn't want anything to do with whatever it is, the movement the Gen Zs had, Mangi had to throw in shade on Nifa. And I'm like, when Nifa was inside, did you send any money to Nifa's family? Like, did you send any form of upkeep? Because according to what you're hearing, Nifa was like the breadwinner. And I'm not condoning what the government is doing. Personally, I want to do away with all the corrupt bad leaders in Africa. But there's a smart way of doing it. It's not just because you are on a good side. Now, you are trying to tell people who are literally hanging by the thread that they should try and make a commotion, honey. When that scale start to shake, they are likely to fail first because they're not on a strong structure. And that is what happened with the Gen Z. When Mangi was telling them to go on the streets and cause the commotion, they were forgetting, hold on a minute. Mangi is not even in Africa. Sis is somewhere in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? One of the most expensive cities in the world, probably. While we are out here rotting in our iron sheet houses that a bullet will just pierce through. You know what I'm saying? That is something that they do not think through. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Personally, I think that unless there's a good forward of going through things and making sure that people don't get unalived, then that's good. But if there's none and people are going there blinded, Mangi should be on front line with her children. If the opposition leader is still in prison, like, bro, come on now. Come on. Let's just be realistic out here. Tundu Lissu is still in prison. You want other Gen Zs to go out there and be slaughtered? Anyway, keep it classy. Stay. See you on my next one. Ciao.